Dude, it's about the guitarists. You like,
Because he says something and we start talking over it, right?
yeah, awesome, cool. What a conversation, right, man? Man, guitars. I have a deep passion for Bill Frisell. Dude, to me, this guy's an entity, man. Julian Lage. Man, you cannot talk about Julian Lage, right, dude? Julian Lage. And the blues guitarists, man, even the more modern ones, Kirk Fletcher, Josh Smith, all those guys from Los Angeles. They're amazing, right? Man, Michael Landau, dude. Michael Landau is kind of like a father to everyone, right? I don't know him. Michael Landau. Landau, got it. Landau, yes. Yes. Who is the father? I believe one of the fathers, along with Robin Ford, of this idea of starting to mix blues with other sounds, other paths. Right, man. I think that, man, it's a huge school. What he did, Michael Landau, right, especially with Fletcher, with Josh Smith, this development, it opened up a huge range to even see the 145 blues progression in a different way. The changes.
You know that Robin Ford played with Miles, right? Are you aware of that? Yes.
Yes, there's a video. It's from 87, right? I think it's earlier, isn't it? Before. When did Miles die?
And he's in his own groove.
I had 5 of them there.
And he's in his own groove. He's in his own groove. I brought him. You see, for example, when Mike Sennett went to play with Miles Davis, Miles was shouting at him, play like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, that's cool.
Man, he wanted to get a rock and roll sound out of him because he was aiming for smooth bop. Miles said, man, I didn't hire you for a smooth bop. Dude.
There's a story, I don't know which of the guitarists that Miles had, where he goes to 48th Street and buys a flying V for his guitarist. Oh, really? Puts a band on his head. He was fascinated with that. I think he saw it at the Isle of Wight, something like that. He saw Hendrix. That was before, right? In the 70s, he saw it and said, man, I want that too. I also want to be like that.
They say they even had some conversations, right? If they teamed up, right? Imagine what would have happened, right? I think everyone asked that question, right? Man, and you were talking about Michael Landau. When playing, has a lot of Robin Ford's hand positioning style.
A lot.
Uses the fourth finger, the hand a bit more sideways.
Tilted. Man, it's beautiful to see the two of them playing together, right? In Renegade Creation. Like, man, it's a wonderful thing because it's a fluid conversation, man. Each within the language they established. But you see a deep connection there, man, between each one playing. And what I find most interesting, at least this, is something that touches me. Each one pays a lot of attention to the other's improvisation, to the point of complimenting when there's an improv passage. You know, man, that's a delicacy, right? That's a delicacy. You're attentive to what the other is playing because what you play will depend on what the other is playing, right, man?
It's a life stance, right? I'm still pursuing that, learning it, right, man? To serve and listen to the other, right? We will spend our lives trying to evolve that, right? That's it, right?
Exactly. I prepared something that I'm going to post called The 7 Lessons I Learned on the Podcast, right? And there's something I think is really cool about being a communicator, which I'm learning now, and it has a lot to do with music. It's, man, when you sit here, you are the soloist. I'm here to create a good foundation for you so that those watching can enjoy this and be happy, with the experience. But often the musician will want to sit here and, compete a lot with the other person. No, man, it's the moment for the solo. I'm here to create that. You, man, are an expert in communication.
But that's a struggle. It's something from our anxiety in the world we live in, right? Look, let's extend this issue. We are in a world that, and we work with this, how to balance this, right? You almost have an obligation to be present, to post, to create clips, create reels, right? You'll have to sit there later and see. You have to do this. But the other day, I felt this in Bonito, walking in the woods there, in Mato Grosso, and recently in the Amazon. This was already consolidating in my mind. No. In Africa, where I went on a safari, the kind where you see the animals, not on a private farm, but in Kruger Park itself, in nature, where you see the animal dying, you can't let them fend for themselves. It's nature. And then the guy said, we did a walking safari where the guy goes with some rifles, not to use. Not to use, he goes for safety and says, look, it's not to use. If the elephant doesn't run, because it runs at 40 kilometers per hour, you run at 8. And then, what did he say? He said, do you see the animals? No, I don't see them. He said, they're all here. Warthog, ostrich, they're all there. Behind the bushes, behind the bush, behind. And then in the Amazon too, I went with my little one, my wife, looking. So, the forest. The law in the forest is discretion. And we live in a world that is the opposite. We're a bunch of peacocks that have to look at the T-shirt there. I don't know what, and now I don't know what. So, well, and music isn't that. Music is also discretion. This music that we like, it starts from discretion. Take your hand off. It's your turn. No, you go, buddy. No. You. What do we do together, right, man? How do we complement each other? It's a way of life, right? And if we mirror ourselves in nature, a jaguar, a panther, it doesn't come out from behind a tree unless it's sure that the energy it will spend will catch that impala. It studied that animal. It stayed there for 15 days watching. It wasn't posting on Instagram. It was, I'm going to catch that impala. Soon, no. There's a cub there. The mother is sick. It smells the poop. She's sick, easier to run and catch. Description. And this music that we like is just that, right?
And this issue of accompaniment that I'm talking about, Joe Pest, in his video lesson, he says the following: you who are a guitarist and like to solo, when the other guy is soloing, what are you doing? Aren't you going to accompany? Aren't you going to do anything? Come on, do you only study solos? And the accompaniment for your colleague, aren't you going to provide some support? But this thing about you, the art of accompanying, there are many guys who are great soloists and not good accompanists because they don't know how to position themselves. Let me give the guy some support. So he can shine, create an atmosphere.
Maybe. I tell this to the male students. The guy who doesn't like to accompany is because he hasn't yet discovered how cool it is to accompany. Because I think accompaniment, it's such a great thing. Really cool. It gives you dopamine.
And it even unfolds into soloing, man. Because when you're accompanying you're also getting to know what are other regions of the fretboard. You will work with other types of frequencies that, like, this will also unfold when you're improvising or soloing, which is another path.
Did you see Wes's face while accompanying? It's the same face when he's dreaming. It's beautiful.
He's having fun, yeah, because he hasn't discovered the fun, right? There's Herbie Hancock, who, for me, is one of the guys I like to listen to the most. And he has something different, man. When he's in a project that's by another musician, like Miles Davis, he would accompany in one way. In his own, he keeps provoking. He's accompanying. The guy is there, and he's like ta-ta-ta-ta playing along, right? Like, I'm also part of this improvisation here, right?
Look, with conduct. When he released an album through Starbucks, through the coffee shop's label, which had pop artists, I think John Mayer and such. And John Mayer says in the documentary that he was worried because he was going to record with Herbie Hancock in the morning. And Herbie Hancock said, no, I'm the one who's worried. How am I going to serve you without getting in your way?
Look at this. Look at this. That album was Personality, the year of the album, right?
Yeah, he said, go ahead, man. I'm here to serve you.
And this album is wonderful, isn't it? It has Christina Aguilera, right?
That's right.
He hired the guy to do this production, and the guy said, so I'm going to produce it in the style of Headhunters. And he said, no, my brother, I didn't hire you to produce Headhunters. Otherwise, I would have hired someone else. I want you to produce this group here. This Jonea vibe, right? These guys, right? How cool. But I would also be worried about playing with Fabinho.
Of course, imagine, right, man? Imagine